The saber-toothed tiger you knew. It's a myth. This isn't fiction. It's published science. Their lineage to modern tigers is further than yours is to a mouse. They split 20 million years ago. Calling it a tiger is like calling a rhino a unicorn, but it gets stranger. This imposter cat had 5-inch fangs, yet a laughably weak bite. Weaker than a leopard's. So how did it rule the ice for 3 million years? After unearthing thousands of fossils, truth finally emerged. It didn't bite its prey, it wrestled them to death. Once the victim was paralyzed, those fangs became surgical scalpels, slicing the throat. This wasn't hunting. It was an execution. Imagine a video game monster, a bodybuilder's upper body, teeth like twin daggers, but a house cat's bite force. You'd think it was a glitch, but evolution wrote this code. The Smilodon was a mad biological experiment. Take its signature weapons. 5-inch fangs, longer than your finger. They looked capable of piercing steel, but the reality, fragile as glass. A bit angle, hitting bone, snap. So it never bit recklessly. These weren't swords. They were scalpels, designed only for soft tissue. But here's the prey doesn't stand still to be sliced. So what then? The answer lay in its massive upper body. Bone analysis revealed that its forelimbs were insanely huge, dwarfing any big cat alive today. Dense muscle attachments across the shoulders proved its chest and shoulder strength was absolutely freakish. If a lion is a sprinter, the Smilodon was a heavyweight wrestler. Its hunting style reflected this. Lions chase. The Smilodon, it lay dead still in the brush, like a giant furry boulder. When prey neared, it didn't pounce to bite. It grappled using those monstrous arms. It locked onto the neck, slamming the victim down. Most prey couldn't survive this impact. Spines snapped instantly, or they were completely pinned. Only then did the Smilodon lower its head, driving fangs precisely into the throat, or the soft belly. One lethal strike, clean and efficient. You might ask, why so complicated? Why not just bite to kill? Because it couldn't. Computer simulations of its bite force revealed a shocking truth. It was a third of a lion's, weaker than an adult leopard. Bite harder. But this wasn't a flaw. It was an evolutionary master. It traded bone-crushing power for longer fangs and surgical precision. It didn't crush bones. It severed arteries. Within minutes, the prey bled out entirely. Maximum efficiency, minimum risk. That's how it dominated for 3 million years. Not by being the strongest, but the most lethal. Yet, there wasn't just one. It was a dynasty of 3 apex predators, each more extreme than the last. The most famous Smilodon fatalis, lion-sized but significantly heavier. Built like a tank. If a lion is a track athlete, fatalis was a gym monster. Pure upper body muscle. Absolutely terrifying. But it wasn't the biggest. The true king was Smilodon populator, roaming South America, weighing nearly half a ton, dwarfing any modern tiger. Imagine a cat the size of a grizzly bear. If it stood before a modern tiger today, the tiger would look like a house pet, completely different weight classes. And these behemoths ruled a vastly different world. The Pleistocene, the true age of megafauna. Forget the frozen, snowy wastelands. The Americas were actually endless. Savannas and woodlands, but they weren't grazed by antelope or zebra. They were ruled by bizarre beasts, ancient wild horses, shorter but far stockier, and camels. Yes, North America was the camel's original home, long before they migrated to Asia and Africa. Then there was the giant ground sloth, 10 feet tall, over a ton of pure muscle. Slow, but protected by armor-like skin. Even saber-tooths steered clear in this world. Size and speed couldn't guarantee survival because the rival predators here were just as monstrous. The Smilodon's competition was fierce. First, the dire wolf. Despite the name, they weren't true wolves. Just like the saber-tooth wasn't a tiger, heavier than gray wolves. With bone-crushing jaws, hunting in massive packs. Dozens swarming at once. No matter how strong the Smilodon was, it couldn't fight an army. Often, their hard-earned kills were stolen by wolves before they could even feast. And then, the American lion. Now, that was a true giant cat. Even larger than the saber, with long legs built for speed. And like modern lions, they hunted in prides. In the open plains, the American lion was the undisputed king. The ambush tactics, Smilodon, were completely useless in this environment. But the most terrifying rival, the short-faced bear, standing 12 nearly feet tall. More massive, this giant polar bear rarely hunted for itself. It preferred to steal from others. Paleontologists have a clinical term for this behavior, kleptopare in plain English. It was the mafia of the Ice Age. Collecting protection, a Smilodon spends hours fighting a wild horse, just as its heavy footsteps echo in the distance. The giant short-faced bear slowly approaches and stands tall. What could the saber-tooth do? It couldn't win. Walk away, had to abandoning its kill, forced to hunt again. In a brutal world where only the strong survive, the Smilodon thrived for 3 million not just through brute force, but through intelligence. There's one that has puzzled paleontologists for decades. Was the Smilodon a lone hunter, or did they live in packs? The answer lies in one place, the Lavrie Tar Pits in Los Angeles. It was nature's perfect death trap. Underground asphalt seeped to the surface, creating sticky pools. Once an animal stepped in, it sank deeper and ultimately deeper, trapped and doomed to die. Scientists have excavated over 2,000 Smilodon skeletons here. That number is staggering. It tells us these frequented this area. But here's the bizarre part. Many bones show signs of healed injuries. Broken legs, fractured ribs, even skulls that had been bitten right through. Yes, how severe these wounds? If a modern solitary predator, like a tiger or leopard, sustained such injuries, it would be a definitive death sentence. Unable to hunt, they would simply starve to death. But these saber-tooths survived. Wounds closed up, bones knitted back together. How? Some scientists argue this proves Smilodons were highly social animals. Injured individuals were kept alive by companions, shedding food. Just like where in a lion pride feed off the kills made by the group. But skeptics disagree. They claim the Labri tar pits have so many because trapped prey screamed in agony for hours. These cries were like a dinner bell. Two predators, one by one, were drawn, and one by one, they got stuck. Not hunting in packs, just falling for the same as for surviving with crippling injuries. Maybe the Smilodon just scavenged on carrion, surviving without hunting at all. The absolute truth, no one knows. It remains an enduring mystery of the Ice Age. But whether they hunted alone or ruled in prides, the Smilodon could not escape extinction. Around 10,000 years ago, the Earth's climate violently shifted. Glaciers melted. Temperatures soared. The endless savannas began to shrink. Dense forests took over for the saber-tooth. This was a death sentence for the saber. Its entire evolutionary arsenal was built for the open plains. The explosive ambush, the grapple, the lethal throat slice, flawless on the grasslands, but in the dense completely useless. Too many prey could simply vanish into the trees, and the Smilodon, short, stocky legs, couldn't give chase. It could only watch its meals slip away. Worse still, its prey was vanishing. The giant ground sloths, the ancient horses, the dying out one by one. The foundation of the food chain collapsed, and the apex predator left starving. Then came the final blow. Roughly 13,000 years ago, crossing the Bering Land Bridge, these two-legged newcomers entered the Americas. Armed with spears and fire, they competed for the exact same prey. Humans may not have actively survived, but in a collapsing, fragile ecosystem, a new rival meant a faster death. Wasn't wiped out by a single event. It was suffocated by a perfect storm of change. Shifting climates, vanishing habitats, dying prey, new competitors. Alone, any of these could be survived. But together, they were an apocalypse. And so, one day, 10,000 years ago, Saber took its final in a corner of the world we will never know. A dynasty that ruled for 3 million years, faded quietly into the dust of history. But its story isn't over. D leaves us with a brutal truth. Power does not equal permanence. It was one of the most successful predators to ever walk the earth, engineered for its world. But when that world changed, perfection became a prison. Those lethal fangs, those massive crushing arms, that flawless ambush tactic, all became fatal flaws. Evolution has no end goal, only adaptation. Today's greatest advantage can be tomorrow's heaviest burden. Through 3 million years of reign and its ultimate demise, the Smilodon teaches all life a lesson. We stand in a museum, staring into those fossilized jaws. We aren't just looking. Oh, the extinct and chat. We are looking at evolution's a masterpiece of biology, a king that once ruled the earth. And as long as we tell its story, the Smilodon will live forever as the ultimate legend of the Ice Age.